Hey guys, sorry I've kind of been on a long hiatus. It's been, I think, like a week and a half since I last posted a video. I was trying to be more consistent, but this last week has been pretty rough for me. My cat has been ill for the last 8 months, and we've been taking care of her, taking her to the vet, giving her the treatments that they had prescribed. Nothing was working. We just kept on like vaporizing her and hoping that it would clear up. It didn't, so she was terminally ill this weekend, and we had to put her down on Monday. So that was pretty hard. Probably one of the hardest things I had to do in my life. I chose her 10 years ago as a kitten, and she's been part of my family ever since, so I really cried a lot when I had to put her down, and it was very rough, to say the least. So I've just been taking this time, the past week, to spend with her, and then this, as I said, last Monday we had to put her down. So I know this video isn't going to be really upbeat. I'm still trying to get come to terms with her passing. She meant a lot to me. She was like my childhood cat. She watched me from all of like middle school and all of like high school and stuff like that, in college. So she meant a very large amount to me. Her name was Kisu, and that's the reason that you guys see the profile picture on the YouTube channel change. I did that in Photoshop in memory of her because she meant quite a lot to me. She was my baby, to say the least, so I really miss her, yeah. But I'm gonna try to get into the deck profile. Hopefully you guys can still glean some information off of it. I know, as I said, it's not going to be a super upbeat video compared to the usual ones, but I'm still trying to deal with her passing. But I hope you guys will enjoy this deck profile. What I have for you today is actually Dogmatika Buster Blader with a Rocket package. I've been recently playing this during my free time as much as I could to test for today. It's pretty good. I would say that it's on par with Invoked Dogmatika Shaddoll. It forgoes Aleister, to say the least. I was never a big fan of normal summon Aleister. It was always kind of boring for me because of the fact that you just like normal summon Aleister and make Makaba do your whole Dogmatika package, then pass. This is a little bit more interesting. You're running the Buster Blader stuff, so you're running like Destruction Whelp, and then we're running the Dogmatika package, which pairs very well. Buster Whelp, where you can normal summon it, add Prologue, and then you can do All Mirage, Secure Gardena, then you can activate Nadir. Nadir to add Maximus, dump Abcalone, do your whole Shaddoll stuff, summon Maximus, dump everything. It's pretty good. It was consistent. I'd say it's, in my opinion, it's more powerful than the Invoked Dogmatika Shaddoll. And the fact that you can run the Dragon Link package for Synchro 8s and Synchro 9s is pretty nice because of the fact that you can basically smoke screen your opponent into thinking that you're playing Dragon Link. But besides that, like, you will start off usually with like a quick launch, making your opponent think that you're playing Dragon Link. If they ash that, you just normal summon your Buster Whelp, get Prologue. If you have your Nadir or you have your Ecclesia, what you would do is you would just link into All Mirage, then link into Secure Gardena, summon Ecclesia, add Maximus, Maximus to banish the All Mirage and Grave, Maximus double dump, you're going to dump the Abcalone, and you're going to dump the Titaniclad in your extra. Then off of that, what you would be doing is you would actually add Schism, dump an spare card in your hand that you don't want to keep, the one that's not the Prologue, and then you would, on end phase, you would summon out, or you would just add to your hand the Fleur-de-Lis. And then what you would have for yourself is you would have a double board lock, and you would have a monster negate, which is pretty good in addition to any like hand traps that you have left in your hand. You would end on the Buster Blader, you would end the Buster Dragon, then you would end on Schism, Maximus, Ecclesia, and you would also have the Fleur-de-Lis in your hand and the Secure Gardena on the field. So you have a lot of interaction. You better hope that you have multiple board wipes. If they don't have, like, because they can bait out your stuff with Lightning Storm because they can destroy your back row, but if you want to, then you can just chain Schism first, then chain Prologue to get your special summons in before the window comes out, so you can then summon out your Fleur-de-Lis if they out your stuff. but they better hope they have like droplets plus dark ruler no more, or else they won't be able to get over your floodgates, and usually you can win the game from there. If you're able to get your Dragon Buster Destruction Sword to the graveyard, then what you can do is you can equip that off your Buster Dragon onto your Buster Blader. Then you also have Extra Deck Lock, and that's basically you're locking them out of special summoning, you're locking them out of monster effects, and you're locking them out of the extra deck. Most decks can't get over that. Last night I was playing against my buddy Alfredo. We were doing, I was playing my deck, and he was actually playing Necroz, and that was one of the few decks that could actually counter it. Funny enough, though, he summoned Maximus, and then he Maximus dumped, and I just got advantage off of it, summoning, like, dumping Entis and dumping a Abcalone to be able to add Schism to have follow-up. So there's a few decks that can play through it, like, but besides that, there isn't much, because the only thing that stopped me kind of in that matchup was him summoning Unicorn, and then the Unicorn was already negating everything, so when I summoned out my Buster Dragon and stuff like that, they couldn't get their negates out, and I had to out the Unicorn a lot. But besides that, most meta decks right now just can't even deal with it. Even like Flunder can't deal with it because of the fact that you turn all their small birds into dragons and their effects are negated when they're normal summons, so they can't out that. It's a really good control deck. I would say it's also a great grind deck. There's some ratios that I'm still messing with and trying to figure out, but besides that, the deck is fully complete. I hope you guys will enjoy this deck profile, and I hope that you can kind of just stay with me in this sense because of the fact that I'm not super upbeat right now because I'm still dealing with Kisu, but I hope you guys enjoy. So first, we're going to start with our Buster Blader package. We're going to be running 3 Buster Whelp of the Destruction Swordsman. This card is your Aleister of the deck, to say the least. What you would do is you would normal summon it to add 1 Destruction Sword card from your deck to your hand, which will usually be Prologue of the Destruction Sword. If you have Prologue, you can add any of the other Destruction Sword cards. There are multiple different ways to get them out. If you have a Quick Launch plus a Buster Whelp, what you could do, and a Prologue, what you could do is normal summon the Buster Whelp, add the Buster Blader Destruction Swordsman. You can special a rocket off of Quick Launch, then you would link off into the Buster Link monster, summon out your Destruction Swordsman. You'd have your Buster Destruction Swordsman on the field. You would have the Link monster, and then you would have Prologue in the back row, which is pretty good. The other effects don't really come up that much. What you can do is, if this card's on the field, you contribute this card to special summon a Buster Blader from your hand or graveyard. The Buster Blader Destruction Swordsmaster is Buster Blader in the graveyard only and on the field, so you can summon him from the graveyard using the Buster Whelp. So if you're in a grind game and you have these in your graveyard, what you can do is just summon them back sometimes off of this. It's not a bad monster to summon off. It's 2600. If you destroy an opponent's card by battle or card effect and it's sent to the graveyard, you can target one of the cards that were sent and attach it to the Buster Blader. Then what you can do is once per turn, you can send 1 monster card you control that is equipped to this card to the graveyard and destroy all monsters your opponent controls with the same type as the monster sent to the graveyard. This can come up it can come up often enough to be able to use it. In my deck, I'm actually running 2 Buster Blader Destruction Swordsmasters and a normal Buster Blader. Some people say that it's kind of a brick to run more than 2. I'm running the normal Buster Blader for the name because sometimes you need a specific Buster Blader that it lists. The Destruction Swordsmaster is usually better to have, but you can usually get this out of your hand pretty easily with all the Buster Blader cards that we're running, especially with the Link monster being able to special a Buster Blader monster from your hand if you send a Destruction Swords card, which usually what you would send is the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. This card allows us to be able to lock the extra deck by equipping it to a Buster Blader. What you can do is you can target 1 Buster Blader you control and equip this monster from your hand or field to that target. You can actually attach the Buster Blader to the Destruction Swordsmaster because it's considered Buster Blader on the field, or you can just attach this to a normal Buster Blader. The only way you can attach this to the fusion is using Buster Dragon because it allows you to attach it to a Buster Blader monster, not specifically Buster Blader. So that's the only caveat about this card. But there's a lot of ways that you can get this into the graveyard through the deck. Sometimes you might just normal summon it and then do a Mirage into a Secure Gardna, and then do your Dogmatika plays, and that can allow you to get it if you have also Prologue in the hand. So Prologue plus this plus Nadir is full combo and allows you extra deck lock plus window plus the Buster lock. So these are our 7 main Buster monsters that we're running. Going into the other Buster Blader cards, we're going to be running 3 Prologue of the Destruction Swordsman, and we're going to be running 2 Destruction Sword Memories. What Prologue does is it specials a Buster Dragon from the extra, and then dumps a Destruction Sword card and a Buster Blader monster to the graveyard to summon it. And then what you can do is you can dump Destruction Swords Memories plus a Buster Blader, and if you have a dragon in the graveyard, then you can chain on Chain Link 2 Destruction Sword Memories, fusing out the Buster Blader fusion, and then summoning out the Buster Dragon, getting the lock set. The trap effect, where you discard a Destruction Sword card to special summon a Buster Blader monster from the deck, doesn't come up super often. The main reason that we're running 2 is because if you see 1 in the hand, it can brick you very hard. 2 allows us to be able to, even if we draw 1, to be able to just either set it and then be able to use it if we have a Destruction Sword card in the hand, 1 of these, or we can just discard it off of a Ab Cologne, where you add Schism and then discard Destruction Sword Memories, which is also a viable option. Originally, I was testing out a package with Romulus and Dragon Ravine as another way to discard. I just felt that the extra deck space was more important than having the Romulus, and the Dragon Ravine being able to be swapped into something else. I wanted to keep the deck at 40 cards. So these are the main Buster package that we're running. As of now, it is 5 cards for the traps, and then we're running 7 cards on the monsters. It's not too big. If we were to think about the Aleister package, you would be running 3 Aleister, 2 Invocation, and then you would be running like 3 Meltdown. So that's 8 cards. This is a little bit more, but it's also more potent on the lock in my opinion. Now we're going to get off into our Rocket section. We're going to be running a 1 Boot Sector launch. I know this order's a little bit wonky, but we're going to be running the 1 Boot Sector launch. We're going to be running 2 Rocket Tracer. We're going to be running a Silver Rocket, and then a Rocket Recharger. I think 2 Rocket Tracer is fine. I think 1 Silver Rocket's also good because I want to have another target for the Rocket Tracer to summon. And then the Recharger also, just because of the fact that of its effect, and it's not a bad summon. And then we're also running the 3 Quick Launch. So basically we're running this package to be able to smoke screen our opponent, and also sometimes make a Buster Dragon if we really need it. Because what you can do is Quick Launch. If you have like a normal summon, what you do is you normal summon, Quick Launch, summon Rocket Tracer, link the normal summon off, use Rocket Tracer, pop the link summon, and then just go into a Synchro 8, which would usually be your Buster Dragon, if you can't get it out the normal way. Sometimes you might just have to hard make the Buster Fusion using Destruction Sword Memory sent to the graveyard, and that's one possible way if you don't have Prologue to be able to get the Buster lock. But I think this package is pretty good. I like it because of the fact that it gives us access to Synchro 8s very easily, and also pairs well with our dragons that we need to get to the graveyard for the fusion. And to finish off our main packages, we're basically running double Nadir, we're running 1 Fleur-de-Lis, 1 Maximus, and we're running 3 Ecclesia. The main reason that I'm doing this is the fact that if we have the normal summon of Buster Whelp, we're able to, so I'll show you. If we normal summon our Buster Whelp, what we can do is then we can link off the Buster Whelp for a Mirage. And then we can link the Mirage off for Secure Gardna. And now what we can do is if we have Nadir, we can Nadir effect to send a Ab Cologne, and then Ab Cologne to add Schism, dump a card, And then we're also getting Maximus to our hand. And then Maximus would be able to special summon itself by banishing the Almirage, then dump 2, and we can basically get our whole engine going. So this package is really good in my opinion. I enjoy having it in the deck. It gives a lot of potency. The cool thing also is the fact that if we have like Ecclesia, for example, on the field, and it survives the turn, if we have like Boot Sector left up, so like let's say all we have is like Ecclesia plus Boot Sector, and then they have like 2 monsters, what you can do is you can just Boot Sector effect summon back the Tracer, and then you can actually synchro off the Ecclesia because it's a 4 with the Tracer to go into like a Buster Dragon, which is pretty cool in my opinion. In addition to this package, we're also running the 1 Punishment and the 1 Schism. The punishment being if we have like Fleur-de-Lis plus Ecclesia, what we can do is just normal summon the Ecclesia, add punishment. It's if you just draw the Fleur-de-Lis, so it's alright. We have some big targets that we can send. We have like a Buster Blader Fusions that we can send, which is like 2800. Usually it's enough to pop a monster, and we can also send like an Entis, which is also cool. But that covers the Dogmatika lineup. And then we're going to move into the hand traps and just the good cards, to say the least. We're running 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, and we're running 1 Called By. I'm running the Called By because of the fact that if you get hit by an Ash or a Veiler on your Buster Whelp and you don't really have the Prologue, sometimes it's just better to have the Called By and just being able to Call By that and force stuff out. And then of course I'm running the 1 Harpies because of the fact that Mystic Mind's in the format, and I want to run at least 1 main spell and trap removal. You could change some other ratios to be able to swap into your like Cosmic Cyclones if you wanted to, but this is what I'm running. Besides that, we're going to move into the hand traps. We're going to be running 3 Infinite Impermanences, we're going to be running 3 Ash, and then we're going to be running 3 Droll. Droll, I think, is the best hand trap in this format, in my opinion. The fact that it stops so many decks and is able to like shut down like Branded, it's able to shut down Sword Soul depending upon what their hand is. It can do quite a lot. I love it when they normal summon Alibur to add like the Branded Fusion or something like that. Or if they were to activate something that would like add them a card to their hand, then you just droll it and they can't really do much. Most of the time they would only end on like a Mirror Jade Pass, which is usually I can deal with in this deck. But that's my hand trap lineup. And now we're going to actually move off into the extra deck. We're going to be running for our Synchro Monsters, we're going to be running 1 Wind Pegasus adding Nister. We're going to be running 1 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and then triple Buster Dragon. The thing that I'm debating still is whether I want to run triple Buster Dragon or I want to run 2. The issue being that first turn sometimes you can make Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and you can summon Buster Dragon. So what you do is you summon Buster Dragon, you might have a level 1. And then you could synchro that into the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss off of like the Buster Whelp or the Destruction Sword. And then the only issue is the fact that you already used 1, even though it was properly specialed. Then next turn you would Prologue and you would have your second one out. Unfortunately with the Prologue, this will destroy itself, meaning that you don't have any more Buster Dragons left if you only have 2. So sometimes you might want to run the 3rd for a grind game, because of the fact that you can summon back Buster Bladers in your graveyard, and you can just keep on hitting into them if they get rid of your Destruction Swordmaster, which is pretty cool. But I chose the 3 Buster Dragon and the 1 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss because of the fact that you can also special summon the Destruction Sword that's equipped to the Buster Blader, and then you have the 1 and the 8 to be able to make the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. It comes up pretty often. I usually do it as a follow-up for OTK, and it also summons back the Tuner, which is pretty cool. Which you can summon the other one and then summon a Buster Blade from your graveyard. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with it. And then I'm also running the 1 Wind Pegasus as a Maximus target, because sometimes if you have Nadir, you would Nadir for your Ab Cologne, and then you could Maximus for a Titaniclad, but you don't have another good target your only other target would be a Entis. So you want to dump the Aleister for like protection. But that's my synchro package. I am also, for my fusion package, I'm running 1 Entis, I'm running 1 Titaniclad, an Abcalone, a Winda, and then 2 Buster Blader fusions. The reason that I'm running these in this order, so the Entis is for a pop, Titaniclad being able to add the Fleur-de-Lis or special the Ecclesia if you haven't, to add a Fleur-de-Lis on end phase, which is pretty good because it gives you a monster negation. Then we're running the Abcalone and the Window package to be able to do the extra deck lock with a or do the special summon lock with Schism. And then I'm running 2 Dragon Destroyer Swordsmen because of the fact that I feel like 1 is not enough. I was trying it out at 1, but a lot of the times I would feel like I don't have any follow-up because you don't really have a lot of boss monsters in this deck and things in the main deck to get over their monsters. The big attack monster would be a Fleur-de-Lis that can keep on boosting by 500 every turn, but if they out that, you don't really have a lot of other boss monsters. So for my idea was running the Buster Bladers to be able to substitute for high attack, and then we're running the Buster Dragon for grind game, and then we're running these 2 because you can actually you can fusion summon both of these throughout the game, and you still will have a 1 Buster Blader left for your Buster Dragon grind game, which I think is pretty cool. But that's our fusion package. Then to finish off, we're going to go into our links. We don't run any XZs in this deck because you can't really make them easily. We're going to be running 1 Striker Dragon. Of course, to add the boot sector launch, we're going to be running the 1 Almirage and the 1 Gardna. This is the lineup if you don't have the rockets in hand. What you would do is you would normally summon the Buster Whelp, link off Almirage, link off Gardna like a Aleister would. And then you might have your Nadir package, so then you would banish the Almirage for max missing plus off of it. And then our final card that we're running is the Protector Whelp of the Destruction Swordsman. This card is really good, especially because we're running more Buster Bladers. If you have a Buster in hand, it's kind of a brick sometimes, but if you're able to get into the Protector Whelp, you can special it out of your hand by dumping a Destruction Swords card from your graveyard, from your deck to graveyard, and then you special a Buster Blader monster from your hand, which will allow you to dump the Destruction Sword, the one that locks the extra deck, and be able to special the Buster out of your hand. Then also there's one other cool effect. The only issue with this card is the fact that it can't attack directly. What you can do though to substitute for that is you can link out this, and if this thing hasn't attacked this turn, what you can do is you can just inflict direct damage to them. So let's say that they're at 4,000 life, they have 2 monsters. What you can do is you can link this out, and if you have this and you don't want to go for attacking, destroy their monster, you can actually burn them for game, because if this doesn't attack, you can target it and it'll deal 4,800, which is pretty cool. I've done it a few times. It's really nice because of the fact that it closes out games well, but I'm not sure if I wanted to run 2 of these, but I think 1 is good enough for now, especially because of the fact that it's just it doesn't come out that often. You usually only do it if you want to get the Destruction Swords card to the graveyard, or if you want to summon the Buster Blader from your hand. Originally, I was running Romulus and Dragon Ravine in the deck. The reason being that Romulus to add the Dragon Ravine to dump the Destruction Sword card while getting rid of a card in the hand that might be a brick. But I felt like the extra deck space was more important, and I swapped out the Romulus for the Wind Pegasus, and I swapped the Dragon Ravine for the Heartbeast Feather Duster to have some main spell and trap removal. But that's actually the deck. I enjoy this deck a lot. I think that it has good grind game and also has good OTK potential going on turn 3 if you're going first. Going second, the deck is a little bit hard to play with. You have ways to break the board using Nadir to get your main cards, you can dump an Entis to get advantage. You can go into your Rocket package. The one thing I was thinking about was changing out a Buster Dragon, one of them, for a Borreload Savage, because it comes up a lot. The only issue is sometimes your combo lines won't allow you to attach a Link monster to Borreload Savage, so that's a little bit crappy in my opinion. I could run a Boral Sword, because I can get 4 monsters out in the field pretty easily by turn 3, and I can do it for follow-up, but I think that the way that this extra is built, it's more for like a grind game, and if they're able to out you fully, you just kind of have to try to survive. But I'm going to show you guys a test hand. I'm shuffling the deck right now, and I hope you guys can glean some information from it. Usually I won't brick that hard. The Buster Bladers, I might see 1, but oftentimes I won't see any, even though it's at 3. I will usually see a prologue. There's also one other thing that I wanted to mention. With the deck, you could run Trap Trick, but the big problem is the fact that if you're running Trap Trick, you can't activate Schism. So, like, if I was to activate Schism, then I was to activate Trap Trick, Schism would resolve, or activate Trap Trick, then activate Schism. Schism would resolve summoning the window, but unfortunately now you have Prologue, and Prologue won't allow you, yes, you can activate the trap in the grave, but it's just kind of bad because the order is a little bit messy. Because then you can't special summon out both of your monsters, because of the fact that you'd be summoning more than once. It's hard to explain, but here's going to be a test hand. So we're going to have an Ash, an Ecclesia, another Ash, Infinite Imperm, Quick Launch. So we don't have access to our Buster Blader package here. What we do have access to is we have Window Lock. What we can do is we can Quick Launch, go into like a Striker. Then what we can do is we can normal summon an Ash Blossom. So Quick Launch going into Striker Dragon, normal summon Ash, go into, what you can do then is link off Striker for a Boot Sector. I'll just show it. So Quick Launch effect, we're gonna go into we don't actually have to go into a Rocket Tracer, but I want to in this case, so we're gonna go into Rocket Tracer. Then what we're gonna do is, because we have 2 Ash, we don't really have a normal summon, we're gonna normal summon the Ash, we're gonna link off Rocket Tracer, we're gonna go into Striker Dragon, then we're gonna activate Striker Dragon, we're gonna get ourselves a Boot Sector launch. Then what we can do is link off the Ash Blossom plus the Striker to go into Buster Whelp of the Destruction Swordsman. We can activate Buster Whelp if we wanted to. We can just dump the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword for later if we end up getting a prologue on the follow-up. Then what we can do is we can activate Ecclesia, special summoning herself. What we're going to do then is we're going to add Maximus. After adding Maximus, we're going to special summon it by banishing the Striker Dragon. Then what we're going to do is we're going to activate Maximus effect. We're going to dump Abcalone and Titaniclad. We're going to activate Abcalone's effect. We're going to add Schism. Now here's something that we can do. So we have to ask ourselves, do we want hand traps? Or do we want like follow-up on the next turn if they out our board? Because if we want follow-up, what we can do is we can keep the Boot Sector, dump Imperm, so that we can have follow-up with Rocket Tracer being able to make a Synchro 8. But I'm going to take it more, I want to have more control during this turn, so I'm going to dump the Boot Sector. And then what you're going to do is you're going to set Schism, you're going to set Imperm. So I'm just going to leave these face up in the column so you know what they are. And then you had Ash in hand. Now what you're going to do is on end phase, you're going to activate Titaniclad. Titaniclad's effect is going to go off, and that's going to give you a Fleur-de-Lis to hand. So now what we have is we have, so let me move this more so you guys can see. We basically have, we have a Ash, we have a Monster Negate, we have another Monster Negate with Imperm in the central column, and then we have Schism being able to lock them out of specialing more than once. So that would be 1 interruption, 2 interruption, 3 interruption, and then a Floodgate. So this is actually a pretty good hand off of the fact that we didn't draw the Buster package. if we had drawn the Buster Whelp, then what we could have done is the fact that, so like, let's say that we didn't have to normal summon the Ash Blossom, and instead we summoned out the Buster Whelp. So instead of this Ash, we would have had Buster Whelp. What we could have done is, normal summoned the Buster Whelp instead. The Buster Whelp would have been done with the same thing, quick launch, being able to go into this, and then Buster Whelp would have had Prologue in the hand extra. And then what we could have done is we could have set Prologue also. And then that would have been Prologue lock, Schism lock, you would have had Imperm, Ash, and Fleur-de-Lis. And then what you would have also had is you would have had the Destruction Sword in the grave. So on their turn, what you would do is I would first Prologue. Prologue effect will go off, dumping the Buster Blader. That one, and then you would dump a Destruction Sword Memories. Then you would chain Destruction Sword Memories, banishing itself, and then you would fusion by banishing. So you banish the Buster Blader, and you would banish this Buster Whelp. To summon out, of the extra, you would summon out Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman, and then you would summon out Buster Dragon. Then what you can do is on the separate chain Buster Dragon effect, and you would attach to the Buster Blader the Dragon Destruction Sword, or Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. And that's basically full lock from the extra right now. So we have extra lock, they can't activate monster effects, and they have to somehow out either the Dragon Buster or the Buster Blader. So if they were to Dark Ruler right now, that's fine. You still have extra deck lock because of the fact that this was equipped via this effect, and it's not like a continuous, so this would stay on, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure about that. Then what you would do is if they tried doing stuff, then you would just Schism them. And then you would summon out Winda, and you have an Impermanent Ash and a Fleur-de-Lis. Your zones get a little bit clogged, but if they were to like destroy this, you would have a free zone. And then your one special summon after Schism would be the Fleur-de-Lis to negate whatever they summon. And that's game. They can't out this. On the follow-up turn, you would just basically say like, okay, turn it all to attack. Your Fleur-de-Lis might be on the field. Or like if your Fleur-de-Lis not on the field yet, what you would do is you would summon out the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. You would synchro these two off into a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. Then what I would probably do is, if they have like what I would do here is I would activate Maximus to start clearing their board. I would dump like Entis to pop, and then Wind Pegasus for protection. If they outed it, Entis to pop a card. I can negate something with Archfiend Abyss now that the Buster Dragon's on the field and they're not like protected. Then what you could probably do is just summon Fleur-de-Lis and then just attack for game, because you'd have 3k on her, you'd have 32 on this. This would become 2k off of Fleur-de-Lis, 2k off Fleur-de-Lis. This would attack. It can't attack directly, so it does piercing though on defense, and their monsters will be in defense because you get the Buster Dragon. And then this does like 400, and usually that's more than enough for game. But even off a really crappy hand, you're able to do a lot with the deck. It has some pretty good grind game also if you get into a longer game, because of the fact that you just have the ability to synchro out Buster Dragon, and then you can usually get your Buster Bladers to the grave. I really like how this plays. I think it's one of my favorite control decks right now, besides like Dragon Maids. I had tried out Dragon Maid Buster Blader, but it doesn't really work. It's kind of a bricky. I've seen people playing branded Buster Blader, and yes, that does work, but the fact is you can't do your Link summons, which are pretty important for your Dogmatika package. So I'd much rather prefer having the Dogmatika package and the Dragon Link package to be able to give you some insane grind game. But I hope you guys all enjoyed. I hope you guys don't mind the fact that I was a little bit not upbeat today. If y'all could, I'd appreciate if you could pray for me and my family. It's still very difficult, and it would mean a lot to me because my cat Kisu she was part of my family, and she meant quite a lot to me. I really miss her, and she's been with us for a very long time, and it feels very empty around the house now. I still have my other cat, Callie, but Kisu, it's like losing a family member. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.